live!
Now when all of our phones start beeping and everything, Arcade Radio's on. There it is.
Yep. Pretty sure.
It's nice when it works the first time, right?
Look at that. My ringtone was actually on for a change.
Oh, you got it. There we go. Shut the sound off. Bing.
Okay. I'm trying to... Okay. So,
Yeah. What are you doing
explain the T-shirt. Is it? It's not Bryan. Wait.
Nope.
No. Retro. Why can't I think of your name?
Brandon?
Yeah.
So there was a T-shirt site that was selling, like they were doing those blind box, things where you can buy, for a guy my size to be able to get 3 T-shirts for $10. I just go.
Oh.
So this is a Pokemon one that I got, and it's got a platinum cuddled up next to a Caterpie. I don't know what that Pokemon's name is, but he's cuddled up in there too.
Nice.
And so technically, this shirt only cost me $3.33.
All right, you got me beat. The shirt I'm wearing was $19.99 on Amazon.
Yeah, but you don't look like a 2X. I'm a 2X, and it was only $3.
You don't look like a 2X. All right,
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Bless your heart.
Damn, Skype is thinning. I think. I don't know. I'm a 3X. Can you tell? I don't know.
Whoa.
It's the lighting.
Yeah. It's because I have the crotch. My crotch light is on. Hey, you know what? Let's show the viewers
My
something.
crotch light is on.
Here's the light itself. It's down. This is like a $5 light I got from a garage sale. So it's lighting up my junk.
I think I had one of those to keep my iguana warm. Is that the same?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what we're calling it these days. Little trooper.
This is more like a newt light than an iguana light, though.
Yeah, I mean it has. I made a lampshade out of paper.
What is happening here right now?
Yes.
Crafting.
We digress.
Right.
Hey, what's going on? Someone says, "Hey, Mock."
Mock the Magic Man?
Mock the Magic Man is in here. So is Arcade Jason.
And Mr. Peabody.
Mock the Magic Man, creator of one of the more amazing Halloween animation videos that you can use.
Right now, the 30 people that generally listen are probably thinking, we don't have to start listening until like 7:30. They won't get this figured out.
Right. Yeah, at the beginning of the season when we added video, we had a hell of a time. But,
We did. We did.
We've got it all figured out.
And when we switched to Skype, it was a big problem.
Right. But I feel like we could post like an excellent blog article that everybody would love about what you learned and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
How to get rid of echo or double echo or triple echo.
I know.
He does. You haven't lived until you've had a podcast where your guest is triple echoing.
Listen, if you have 2 microphones, you're going to get echo.
Ah.
And it's some net meetings at work. It sounds like falling down the hole to China. Everybody's going with each other and 50 people online.
Are they having a private conversation?
I don't know. I could hear Disney.
No, Brian's just quiet.
Yes.
We put the quietest guy in the back and the guy that doesn't want to be seen.
He's
So
on
this is
camera.
it's like, was Bryan Jones on the show? Yes, he was. He was really on the show.
Yes.
The
All right.
fact that we got Bryan on the show is an accomplishment.
Really is.
I like it.
We actually got him duct taped to that back there so he can't run.
It was difficult to find a photo of any of you that was like front facing.
Or that. Yeah.
Or that wasn't on
casted a reflection or.
Yeah. I did find some on Tinder.
Wow.
Swiped left.
You found his ghost account I put up?
I'm only on Grinders. I know what it is.
Exactly.
So no, it's not me. I'm missing a name here. We've got, I know we've got Brandon there, and Bryan, and
Chris.
Jonathan. Chris Brown. That's what.
Yeah. There should be tons of stuff. Google my name. You'll find it all over the place.
What did you
All
do to
true.
your
All
girlfriend, you
true.
son of a bitch?
Hey, we worked it out, but, just sometimes. Complete misunderstanding.
Oh. I like the whole wedding video stuff, though. Good job. Good job.
Wow.
Yikes. Sorry.
All right. Well, it's 7:15.
We'd actually
Is it?
get start on time. That would be like, I think people would be shocked.
Yeah, it would be shocking. Here we go. What?
All right, let's start that 6-hour timer.
Okay.
Live from KOYR Studios in Minneapolis, Minnesota, this is Arcade Radio.
Hello, Commander. Computer reporting.
Intruder alert, intruder alert. Beware, I live. A stimulating opponent.
Hello and welcome to Season 3, Episode 17 of the Arcade Radio Podcast. Today is Thursday, May 30th, 2019, and the time is approximately now 7:17 p.m. Central. Thanks for joining us in the Arcadosphere. This is your host, Adam Solo. I'm joined by my co-host, Mark Kessel Run Shields, and Paradise Arcade Shop proprietor and Wookiee in training, Bryan Chewbacca Thurston Howell III. And tonight, he's the initiator of the Vector Initiative and is not a member of Duran Duran. It's Mr. Jonathan Taylor. Next, co-creator of our Retro Spectrum, it is Brandon Spectrum. And, well, it's not really. It's really Brandon Specht, but it's Spectrum. And last but not, well, and then we also have not Chris Brown. Hey, Chris, what's up? And last but not least is Mr. Free Play Florida himself. It's Bryan Jones. Welcome to the show, guys.
For having us.
Hey.
Morning.
It's good to have you aboard. So we have this little warm up that we usually do. Sometimes we say, what we've been working on, but we'll probably get to that in the show. So how about a question, Mark? You got an idea for a question?
Yeah, we want to know what is the most messed up game that you ever got that was completely not what it should have been, and then you brought it back to its original form.
Yeah, that's
and
a good question.
Yeah.
Should we start with Bryan because he's way off in the corner and he's going to have to yell?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Brian?
Yeah,
We got two of us.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bryan Jones.
Probably Sundance.
Whoa.
Sundance.
Yeah, if you look a long time ago, there was a Sundance that was found out in a field. It was like the bottom foot of it had literally rotted away. It was leaning and missing stuff, and it was shipped to me to fix it up from California. And when it arrived with the shipper actually called me over and asked me to look at it and make sure I actually wanted it. But yeah.
Hey, buddy, you sure you want this?
No, wait a second.
On my way out.
It's halfway melted.
Was the game there though? Were the boards there and everything?
No.
Okay, so you had a long road to get it back to its former glory. Yeah.
It was probably 10 inches shorter than it should have been.
10. Well, that's a good start. You had to basically build a new cabinet. Did you chop it off?
Wait. That's what she said.
It's gonna be a lot.
I was going to call it, but Now that I understand the rules of the game.
All right. Brian Jones wins, so let's go with Brandon.
I only help with the 10-footers because I'm tall. I'm 6'6", so I've never actually brought anything back to life. I just help build the giant ones whenever they want.
Are we supposed to call him dumb tall guy or tall dumb guy or something?
I am. I pick things up and I put them down.
Just really up in the air.
Where's the ladder? Brandon!
So, sorry, Chris, I didn't hear that. I said Chris. Brandon, what game was that again?
Oh gosh, we had a couple of them. The one that I had the most handed in was probably Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong?
Donkey Kong. So we got a 10-footer there.
Yeah, a bad habit of making really, really, really big versions of arcade games.
That's Bryan and Chris's idea.
Right.
So
it's like,
how many of those have you made?
Said, hey, what's the opposite of a cabaret? That's what they do.
Yeah, exactly. 10-foot tall ones and stuff.
When you decide like an X-Men 6-player is not big enough.
Yeah.
When you decide you really want to be 5 years old.
Yeah. So I want to know, like we were talking about a little bit earlier off the air, I think. So do we ever let Jen May move the 10-footers, or is those off limits to her?
I don't think
After moving them around so many times, I think we kind of got it streamlined. You know, to where we got it down. It's like two small people can move it around relatively easily.
And just, I mean, not to give away the secret, but the scale of the thing, by the time they got to the Donkey Kong, they thought up the idea to put casters on the back of the machine. So we just tip that sucker down, we go through doorways, and usually we can find a doorway that'll fit a 10-foot tall cabinet on the back.
We actually drug the thing all the way up to Ottumwa for the the Hall of Fame awards that Walter and Billy do. So
Nice.
Almost 2,000 miles up north.
That's cool.
Nice.
Round trip is like 2,500 miles, I think. Round trip.
Yep. That's when I was banned from broccoli.
Yes.
Band from Broccoli.
Man.
That sounds like a band name. And now, Band from Broccoli. Okay, so Jonathan.
Actually, behind us are the 6 Solar Quests I had to buy to get enough parts to make one work.
See, I told you there was 10 of them around. Can you spin that thing so we can see them?
Yeah, take a gander over here.
Got it, Chris?
I think so. I think we can make it happen.
Oh, yeah. Look at. Oh my gosh, there they are, way down at the end. Hey, there's a girl.
Marcy.
There's a girl on the show. That's only happened like 2 times. That's
Very helpful.
It's like Snuffleupagus.
Yeah, your viewership's gonna double now.
Hey guys, there's girls on Arcade Radio.
They like games? What?
Allegedly, you know, the female population makes up about half of the gaming population, so I don't know what we're doing wrong. Probably have too many crotch lights going.
Hey, I'm wearing pants now. Come
on. Chris Brown, what was your worst to best restore?
I got a lot of projects I'm still kind of digging through at the moment. I haven't really fully completed something to where I'm happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
I have one. It was basically like a throwaway cab that was just kind of random one, and I had a cool graffiti artist kind of guy. It's just like getting ready to get sledged down, but it's relatively solid cabinet. It's just like a multi thing, and the guy like tagged it all up and stuff. So I'm trying to build that into like some sort of just fun multi thing that I can put in like a bar, and it's just kind of more of an art piece than like a full restoration of something.
That's cool. Mark, what do you got? What do you got for us?
I bought a Shinobi that was in a System 1 Atari cabinet, and all the art was gone, and the power supply and everything, but there's a lot of satisfaction. I think you find like a harness, and then you find like the old holes, and then your harness matches up with the old holes, and then you're like, oh my god, you're back. What is Adam doing?
There go the pants.
Is that a lottery ticket? Anyway, I think he's using this moment to do something. Anyway, so I did that, and I bought like a System 1 board from CoinOp Warehouse that was untested, which just means, hey, this doesn't work. Let's sell it as untested. And then also another game board from somebody on Facebook. And piecing all that together was super awesome. And of course, the creme de la creme Phoenix arcade, being able to produce the marquee and all the stuff that I needed. Such good times. I applied that stuff with love. So,
Well,
all right. That's my answer. It's not as good as all this shit I've been working on, but whatever. So,
does Mark look like he's talking out of sync?
I see a little delay.
A little bit.
It's weird. Okay,
is
so you sound good, you look good, you just are not in sync. So, who cares? Anyway, you also did you talk about your warlords? Because that was nothing. That was like a freaking.
Yeah, that was actually like ground up.
Well, my Warlords was a casino game that had 10 holes added to the control panel.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, that one was also a little messed up, and I had to like convert a Atari brick to do what I needed it to do. But I mean, I had to do the same thing for the Marble Madness.
Sure.
I guess they're tied, really.
Yeah.
I need to not do that much stuff. I like games that are like just a little messed up. Give me something like, give me a weekend project, please.
Bryan, what you got?
Let's see. Actually, probably one of the ones I'm currently working on. They've got a Mach 3 cockpit that was converted to choplifter.
So many choplifters.
I know. Well, I've got a Mach 3 upright and a Mach 3 cockpit, and so I'm sitting there playing with both of them, trying to get one of them working and get one of them up and going. So the goal is to get the cockpit going. It's actually in great shape. They didn't do a lot of damage to the artwork, except for around the bezel they did this choplifter weird artwork, and on the back they screwed in like a choplifter marquee. But when I took that off, the cabinet itself is in great shape. So we'll see. I've got to find a harness, which is going to be wonderful for a Mach 3 cockpit. That's going to be next to impossible. So I think I'm going to be making my own harness. And then aside from that, it's just getting the board set working.
Well, that sounds good. I had a Star Trek cockpit that was converted to a choplifter.
Wow.
I also have a Firefox that was converted to a choplifter. I haven't started digging into that yet.
The unfortunate thing about that Star Trek cockpit, it was a home for many, many mice. So
You know what one of my most unusual games is? A dedicated choplifter. Who's ever seen a dedicated choplifter?
Did they even make one?
They did.
They did.
They actually made a dedicated choplifter. No, I'm actually keeping it. Amazing.
I would too, yeah. There's one at Grinkers.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the thing about choplifter is so many people are converting the games back. It's not that common. I don't see it.
That's actually a project I got. We noticed that my Tetris cab is actually an old dedicated cliffhanger cab.
Oh, cool.
So I'm going to throw the Tetris into like a dynamo or something, just kind of put it in there and then resto the cliffhanger back to a cliffhanger.
Nice.
Yeah, like they do like what are they, the Daphnes or whatever too.
Yeah,
so do that. I don't think you'll find the actual laser disc for one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you'll find it.
Well,
Find a working one.
I think for me, I have a bunch of games that had to build from the ground up. One of them was a Tron Cocktail, and it actually was built out of a bump and jump cabinet. But the control panels were original, the underlay was original. Had to build a wiring harness. One of my first games. So, but then I got a Missile Command that had been totally screwed up, and control panel was completely painted over. And as you know, Take Man redid those. There was a plexiglass bezel that had been hand painted. So player 1, player 2 is hand painted. So somebody kept it at Missile Command. It was just in really rough shape. So that had new art, new power brick built from the ground up, all that sort of thing. And then my Donkey Kong started out as a Street Heat for me, which was another common conversion for Donkey Kong when they put a steering wheel on top of the control panel, so that and then it had to find boards and all that sort of thing. Luckily, the monitor was still in there, so in the original power supply, because they put a switcher next to it, which still works, amazingly. I don't know. Nintendo power supplies can be finicky. I've only ever had to rebuild one, but not on that machine. I don't think anyway. So, yeah, that's good. That's good. I guess it's time to. We're gonna move on to the next segment, right?
The news channel: hostage, Israel, government, business merger, refugee, oil supply, defense, the Klan, education, strikes, crime, riot, canted science, celebrity, the earth, the universe, the news channel.
Good day, I'm Bob Cash. And I'm Jim Wilkerson. This is the news channel.
We interrupt the ventilator development.
And now, the Arcade News with Bryan MacLeod.
Welcome to the news. So we'll start off today with a news article from the LA Times going over Disney Smuggler's Run, which is a full-scale Millennium Falcon-sized Star Wars arcade game. You and 5 of your friends get to go into this, pilot it, fly around the universe. Chewbacca shows up, who appears on screen, and you just basically it's an immersive ride, similar to the Star Tours ride, but more interactive. Is kind of the description that we have. It opens on May 31st, and I don't get to go see it right away. I got to figure out how to get down there, but I think Mark has tickets, don't you?
Yeah, I have reservations on June 5th from 5 to 9 p.m., so I will be letting you guys know what it's like. My wife plans to crash the Millennium Falcon into asteroids and to the horror of everybody else that's in there, but we'll see how that goes. Because I hear that Chewbacca, if he sees that you're doing terrible, he takes over.
Yeah, and that's kind of the story in there. And then it seems like a cooperative game where you're trying to navigate through all these different things, including the Kessel Run.
Is this a kissing book?
It's kissing book. Yeah, it's such a good game. I don't know what. Are you taking off? All right, love you.
Love you.
She's off to have fun or something. I don't know.
So
with my niece.
This is the theme park's called Galaxy Edge, and it's an add-on to the Disney World, right?
Basically, they took all of the park that was used for administrative and cast member, checking in, and bulldozed it all down, and they built like an enormous section. They spent $1 billion to build this, and they actually spent $2 billion total because they built a copy also in Florida. But the first one that opens tomorrow morning to the general public as long as you have reservations. It's pretty awesome.
And didn't they have an announcement like yesterday with Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford?
I think that was today, but maybe it was yesterday. Yeah, it was last night. You're right.
So and apparently Mark Hamill was complaining that they tried to get the Falcon running, and then and then Harrison Ford comes out there, and he like hits the thing and it starts, and then
right, yeah. You just gotta bump it,
Yeah, and
it's how I get my Star Wars that I own to work.
And apparently he said this one's for you, Peter, which is pretty nice. Since
he
Peter
did, yeah. Nice shout out to Peter Mayhew, who played Chewbacca.
See,
I do cry.
I pay
Very
attention.
sad.
Yeah, we had a little, and that actually happened 2 weeks ago tonight. We heard.
Yeah, that was a major bummer for you for sure, but
it was a sad night.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Peter Mayhew.
Yep. I wept Wookiee tears. It was very sad.
It's just like regular tears, except for there's a lot of hair on them.
We're going to talk about a product and then hit the last news article, third. So, interesting new release with all the Atari games. Hot Rod Arcade, and I think it was Dave Schumann actually helped with this development. They released the Poke 1 chip. So it's basically an FPGA version of the Poke chip. This is specifically for arcade games and tested in a number of them. If you go to the Hot Rod Arcade, hotrodarcade.com website, you can see what it's good for. They've tested in a number, Centipede, Tempest, and several others. I will not read the whole list. They have not tested in about 10 different games. And of note, this does not work in Atari consoles. So the key functions that the Poke needs to do in the consoles, including the 400, 800, and 1200, it will not function in. They have not tried it in the 5200 or the 7800 yet, so they can't guarantee compatibility. It's kind of an interesting development. I mean, Poke chips, 10, 15 years ago were $1 a piece, $2 a piece, $3, not expensive. People were buying Ball Blazer cartridges and pulling them out. The last year I've been watching them, last 2 years, they've gone from kind of 5 to 10 to 20. And now I think one of the only sites left selling them is selling them for $30 a piece for an original Poke chip. These FPGA versions cost $40 a piece. I did not see a quantity discount when I added way too many to my cart, but we'll see what happens. And it's kind of a neat change. They do say that there are some slight, small differences in the sound, but it was optimized. Their statement is, as close as we could possibly make it. It has been painstakingly engineered to match the volume profile of the original Poke.
Excellent.
They do have the random number generator on there too, so it's kind of neat.
Is it the same pinout?
It is. It's basically a drop-in replacement for the Poke. So they had done the quad Poke a little while ago and done an FPGA version of that, and this is the Poke 1. The quad Poke and the individual Poke actually use different parts of the Poke chip to function in the boards.
Okay.
And so it wasn't just a matter of taking the quad Poke and dividing it down and dropping it on a single board. There are components of the single Poke that are not used in the quad Poke chip usually.
How are they doing with the Gumby chip? Are they going to get that one or no?
The Gumby chip.
All right. Moving on.
Oh, we weren't done.
Whoa.
Last but not least.
Oh.
I was just bumping it because it's such a good article.
It is. We're going to do a shout out to the guys that are on the screen right now.
Shout out. What?
The Vector Initiative. This is so big. It was on the Sentinel News down in Orlando.
News.
I got to watch Jonathan on the news broadcast. So down Sunday, June 2nd, 2019, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., the Vector Initiative will be auctioning off 100 arcade games from their collection. Jen May, one of our first season guests, will be the auction mistress, and will be asking who wants to get. Basically asking who's going to bid on what. And
You did not finish that sentence.
I did not.
It's okay.
It says arcaders interested to come in and get an auction on. There we go. But wait, there's more. If you've got boards, parts, or games you want to sell, in addition to the auction, there's also a swap meet going on and a barbecue. So right now, weather's looking good for the day. Partly cloudy skies. Temps between 75 and 95. That sounds very hot for people from Minnesota. And the tickets are $5 a piece. Jonathan said there are thousands ready to go, but 270 tickets have sold. So if you've got time, got appetite, can get down there. It's at 110 Candace Drive, number 108, Maitland, Florida. So if you search for the Vector Initiative webpage on Facebook, it is on there. There is a Facebook event.
You don't want to type that. You don't want to say that number, facebook.com/event/358405378137390.
Thinking no one's going to remember that one, but
damn it.
We will now.
The easy thing is just go to vector.org.
Oh, okay.
It'll take you right to my Facebook page.
Whoever got that's great.
It's on there. Vector.org.
And for those of you who have not seen Jen May's multiple teaser videos of what's in this auction, it is off the hook. I mean, if you want like Space Duels or Solar Quests, it's like a Space Duel Solar Quest orgasm.
But it's the 6 gutted ones. You don't want them.
No, I mean, you could fix it.
Sure.
Just a fuse.
Just a fuse. Just a fuse, and
Super
you need
rare
a board and a power supply and a monitor.
I have to say, like, I have a list of stuff that I would be dying for from it. The auction is quite impressive, the stuff that Jonathan's selling off. He's got a really amazing collection in general. The games that are in this list are really something to be looked at. Three Stooges, Gravitars, Major Havoc conversions. Yeah, I mean, like, it really is a neat collection of games. Don't anybody go after any of the stuff that I would want otherwise, but, you know, hey, bid a lot on it.
Does anyone else think Bryan should shut up?
I do.
No. He's doing such a good job.
Hey, I'm doing that list of games from memory. That's pretty damn good there, huh?
Yeah, well, let them talk about some of it.
Yeah,
yes.
All right. We don't normally have the guests participate in the news section.
You got it.
Why'd you guys give us a little plug about how this thing came to be? What, you know?
Well, I have a collection of like 350 games or something totally deranged, and I'm moving. I have a warehouse in Maitland, Florida, and we bought a hangar in Apopka, Florida, which is about 25 minutes away. And I don't want to move the games that I'm not going to keep. I'm tired of having games that are in a warehouse and aren't out getting played or getting restored. And so, I've had a bunch of discussions over the last 6 months about what to do. And finally, I just said, you know what? We have had nothing but crap auctions, especially in Florida, for years. So let's just have a badass auction, have a lot of fun, no shenanigans, no ghost bids, no shill bidders, no strike prices higher when you get to the table and all that junk. And, I'll throw a couple games in there that are special ones just to make it super exciting. And let's go. And I figured, well, we'll talk about it. But that's how it like.
That's awesome. So, and do you have did you hire an auctioneer then? You had to get like some guy to, 5, 10, 10. What are the bids going to start at?
I talked to 3 auctioneers. So it turns out that if you're auctioning your own stuff, you don't have to have a licensed auctioneer.
Okay.
Checked on that, and so we just decided to do it ourselves. Jen's going to actually do the auctioning.
Oh, nice.
And she was like, I think the first person I ever saw auctioning stuff on Facebook, like doing live Facebook streams.
Yeah, I bought a few things from her. And she was the first female guest on the show in our first season.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Jen's going to do the auctioning, and we're going to watch over everything. And the amount of work that's going into logistics at this point is crazy because the whole thing blew up. I thought it'd be like maybe 50 people show up and we'll have a fun time. No, apparently I'm not good at half-ass.
I was really digging that 50 number of people showing up.
Yeah.
Like, that was going to be great.
Yeah, I was excited about the 50.
And I just keep seeing the number go and go, and head gets lower and lower and lower.
It's going to be exciting. You guys are you going to video it? You're going to...
Well, I mean, we'll definitely shoot some video. We'll do some live stream.
Yeah.
I would watch 5 hours of that as a live stream. That would be fun.
Yeah. Well, I think on the Village, on our local arcade forum, I think odds are being thrown down on the likelihood of a fist fight. Like, which game will it be over? Right. We're thinking like Major Havoc, in the 3rd round, something like that.
Right.
That'd be sweet.
I think it's going to go down with the reactor.
I think you might be right. That reactor is pretty darn nice.
One day.
Would be Florida. We didn't have flights.
I'm actually really sad. I'm not going to be there.
Watch out for that next Florida Man article.
Yeah, right. We need at least one Florida Man article from this auction.
That is funny.
Yeah. Well, we know where Brandon's priorities lay, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
It's a good meme. You can look it up. Florida Man.
Remember that?
Was it Florida Man in your birthday? You look it up, and then whatever it is, you post on Facebook. Anyway, it's pretty funny. So that and free barbecue. Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
You're just giving away barbecue.
Well, I thought, I was thinking like, well, we're doing it last minute, so like I should do something to encourage people to come out because for some reason, for some dumb reason, I didn't think like our reactor and a Three Stooges and a Major Havoc isn't enough reason for people to come out. So I said, well, we'll just have like barbecue and have fun. And yeah, and then it all kind of went out of control. Like I literally turned to my wife 3 days ago when I got home because like 78 people had gotten tickets in the previous hour, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm screwed. I think the Facebook event, it's over 1,300 people have expressed interest in attending now.
That's pretty good. That's good stuff.
I mean, I legitimately, if I wasn't on call, I was flying down. I tried to swap call days, and nobody would swap with me. So it was like, damn it, I can't fly to Florida for this.
Look, I think you just need to reassess your priorities, Bryan.
Probably do. Screw it. They break hips. They can drag themselves on the floor. They can, military crawl across the floor.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, that's a thing. I didn't know that. Okay.
So there's 163 people going and 1,100 people interested at this point by the Facebook page, and then you're saying you've got about 270 tickets sold.
Yeah, I did it. I put tickets on Eventbrite, and that's at 274 as of this moment.
Excellent. Maybe I'll just buy a ticket so I can be there in spirit. How does that sound? All right.
Back in '82. I used to be able to throw a pigskin a quarter mile.
Back to the cave with Time Runner.
Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull?
Yes, there is, Doc Brown. Welcome to Back to the Cade. We'll be going back, oh my God, 34 years to May 30th, 1985. Everybody remember what you were doing May 30th? I mean, it was right around when school was out, right? Okay. So I've got 3 topics. The first, arcade news, May 30th. Capcom releases Commando, vertically scrolling on-foot shooter. On-foot shooter? I'm reading this for the first time. I copy and paste it. Frick does that mean? Which inspires many games with similar themes and gameplay. Not as well known though is the fact that Arnold Schwarzenegger's film Commando also came out later this year in October. Does anybody have any good Commando arcade memories?
There's no such thing.
It's usually for me. It's like some game I like, except for that there's a Commando in it. So, moving on.
Commando.
At the box office on May 30th, 1985, Chevy Chase. He was burning it up as Fletch. Is it Chevy or Chevy? I don't know.
Chevy.
That was a great movie.
Yeah. Fletch, Master of Disguise, great comedy based on a book series, ripe for new films, really. I have a link for Adam to play the trailer. I don't know if he's ready. Usually he's not.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Oh, you wanted me to play? Really want me to play the trailer?
That's
for Fletch.
I think it's fun to hear the Fletch trailer.
Oh man.
You got a problem with Fletch? What is that about?
Well, I don't have a problem with Fletch. I have a problem with ads.
Mattress Tag Inspector.
Yeah, he has to wait for the ad to finish before he could play the trailer. And
You can't afford the pro YouTube thing?
No, this is a free
man,
show.
We should do that. It's a business expense. You can take it off on your taxes.
Exactly. On YouTube.
What is this man saying? What is this man doing?
What in the hell's the matter with you?
What is this man's name?
My name is Igor Stravinsky. Hi there, I'm Harry S. Truman.
I'm Don Corleone.
They call him Fletch.
All right.
Like that guy, the voiceover guy, that was his only job. That was the one gig he got. And they were like, okay, never again.
He did a lot of trailers in the 80s.
That guy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not that guy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
No, there's a guy with a lower voice, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah. In a world. Yeah, that guy.
Fletch. No, not this guy.
Yeah, this guy always did comedy
I'm willing
trailers.
to bet you real money that this guy did not do more than 3 trailers in his life.
How many beers have you had? Are you still wearing pants?
Yeah, they're still on. Okay, let's move on. The best thing on TV on May 30th, 1985.
Am I gonna have to have another trailer ready?
There's another. Yeah. You go here. I'll kill your time while I'm reading this. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name.
Well,
yeah. Go ahead. You bastard! You did it so fast.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah.
That's what she said.
Well done.
You could just read the rest of the copy.
Jen thinks she's winning the first part of the Guess What's in the Juke here with the Cheers theme.
Sometimes you wanna go
where everybody knows your name.
Yes, Cheers was on. So I was going to talk about the Cosby Show, but it seems like not such a good idea right now. So. Okay. Oh,
that's just sad.
Sorry, Adam. What's in? This is part of the show. Yeah.
Go ahead.
He hates yourself.
Take it away.
Right. This is the part of the show where we play a teeny tiny part of the song and hope that the people in the chat are smart enough to recognize it and tell us the artist and the title. Yeah. We will keep score, and Adam has some ways to indicate how many points you got.
That's right. We have well, they're sound effects that we play.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you want me to play some?
Like a gun sound or something, or?
Oh no, we do. Well, wow, no, they're fighting sounds from Karate Champ, right? So.
Half point.
You'll get a half point if you get half of the question right. So that means if you get the artist, you get a half point. If you get the song, you get a half point. If you get both, you hear
full point.
And that,
oh yeah,
and that is good. And sometimes people are just duking it out. And it just takes a long time. So you'll hear this madness as people progress through the game.
Our guests are also welcome. You guys, there's 4 of you, so hopefully together you're,
now you do have an
coalition
advantage.
of brain power.
They do have an advantage.
Yeah, you're like 4 seconds ahead on the buffer.
Yeah. So, Mbop, who said Queen? You can't just guess things, Dave Elope. You can't just guess. You just can't. It's hilarious. All right. Here comes the first clue.
I wanted to be a hero. I wanted to be the center of attention. I wanted the glory. I wanted the fame. I wanted the pretty girls come up and say, "Hi, I see that you're good at Centipede."
Okay, Walter.
Boy, that's a big giveaway, I suppose.
And yet nobody in the freaking chat has figured it out. There's like,
well, we can play the
how
other
many
one.
people are in there?
Yeah, I don't know. There's like 10. Don Johnson. That's
not Don Johnson.
Not Don Johnson.
He's kidding. He's kidding.
The centipede multiplies and divides and comes after you from every side.
Wait. Okay, RK Jason, good job. He got the name of the song.
Wait a minute. I think I'm behind on the chat. Who got the name of the song?
RK Jason.
REO Speedwagon.
Nice. I'm going to go with Mark's. Mark, you must have refreshed because you're seeing these things faster. So that's good. All right, cool. So the next, who got that?
Oh, wait, did you play the Buckner and Garcia version instead of the Rebby Jackson version?
Well, they're not versions. They're totally different songs. And you said I could put in a different song, so I put in a different song.
I get it. Okay, good job.
So that,
yeah, we had like this. There was actually a terrible song from the 80s called Centipede.
I'll play a little bit of that. It's
would you really? It's so bad. I
can't even hear it.
I don't hear it. No, you're playing it through a different
all right
thing. All right, fine. Don't worry. Just rest assured, it's terrible.
It's terrible. It's awful.
It's like this. It's like that.
But someone got a full point, right?
Full point.
RK Jason.
That's loud. That's real loud. Okay.
Thank you.
The next track.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one. Interesting thing about this song, there's no bass line.
Oh, man. I play bass.
I know. It's pretty sad. Boys of Summer, Andy Baldwin.
Andy Baldwin, full point.
Full point for the Andy Baldwin. Yeah, way to pull out, man.
Full point.
Okay, Boys of Summer, Don Henley. We'll play a little bit more of that. Such a good track. Okay, next one.
I can wait another day.
That's all I'm playing of that.
Oh, wow.
Wow. I don't know if that's enough, but
Boy, 2N Jen's a little behind in the chat.
Oh, Jen's in chat.
Some people must be like really, really delayed. We should have told them to reload.
Andy Baldwin got the artist, Paul McCartney.
Excellent.
Half point.
And
what's that song?
It's a good song.
Hey, believe it or not, Paul McCartney was in the Beatles.
There you go. Andy's got the whole point. Again.
Damn.
He's doing good
Full
tonight.
point.
All right, next one. It's No More Lonely Nights, by the way. All right, here we go.
Sounds like a game.
Yeah, it does.
Wait, am I allowed to play?
You guys go ahead.
You guys can play.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll save it for the chat.
Yeah, but you have to do it in the chat. You have to like have your phone out and.
These guys are coming to Minnesota State Fair this year.
Oh, dude, I would come back. I would do that.
Oh yeah, so Out of Touch. Andy
No
Baldwin.
one's guessed it in the chat.
Okay, I think Andy got the Hall & Oates, and Out of Touch. Oh my God, he's in the lead with 3 points, beating the heck out of Arcade Genius.
Man, it's another
Full point.
Okay, and here comes the next one. That's Out of Touch, Hall & Oates. Yeah, I'm getting a call. And right now, if you just feel like texting us, you can text us to 612-548-GAME, just for fun. Just go ahead and text us.
That's right.
And we'll draw some
2N Jen got the name of the song.
Happy little text in over here.
happy little clouds.
Half point.
All right.
Javelope got the.
Javelope got a half point, and
Half point.
Nice. That was Run to You and Bryan Adams. Okay, here comes the next one.
nice.
This one's by Poison.
Is it?
No, it's not.
Oh
No.
my God. I didn't know they were that good.
They weren't even around when this came out.
I don't know.
Ario Speedwagon.
No.
Brian Frober has that on like copy and paste. It's on the clipboard. Ario Speedwagon.
Ario Speedwagon. When in doubt, yes, Ario Speedwagon. And they
No
only had,
REO
like,
in tonight's thing.
Some crap by no one who cares.
Play it a little bit more.
Sad part is I actually know this song.
It's a good song.
There's a story in my eyes.
Night
Ranger.
Not Night Ranger.
Not Night Ranger either.
That's a good guess, though. That's good. That was a good guess. It's a swing and a miss. I think it's time for a little duking it out. All right, I'll play a little bit more. I'm going to move to the middle of the song, though.
I can feel you tremble when we touch, and I feel the hand of
Here they go.
reaching out to both of us. I've been holding back the night.
Holy shit.
There's a lot of fighting going on. Jonathan fell asleep.
That is not Chicago. We may actually just give this one away.
This one's I Can't Hold Back by Survivor. The next song coming up.
You gotta speak up, sir.
Ryan said both of those.
He did? I'm going to give Brian 1 point. Boom.
Hey, we're
Super quiet, man.
boom, boom.
This one definitely has a bass.
Sometimes in my bed at night.
Huey Lewis and the News.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that
Is that
Brandon?
Brian?
That was Brian.
He said Huey Lewis in the News, not Power of Love.
Not Power of Loves. That is correct. It does not get you a half point. Half point for Brian. And it is which song?
That song? Yeah, they almost have
I
it.
curse the dark and I pray for the light. And sometimes the light's no consolation.
Yeah.
That's a good song, too.
It's a great song. Well,
There's freaks loose on the streets of the city. Barking
Oh,
Thin Line or something like that. Street
It's walking on something.
it is.
Sunshine?
Thin Line, yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Half point.
For Brian. Brian, you think you get a whole
Full
point?
point.
Brian's actually entered the game with a full point. All right, the next one is Walking on a Thin Line by Huey Lewis in the News. Next one is Jonathan wants to dance with somebody.
We should all know that song. It's like in every 80s movie.
This is funny. Hey, Brian Frober.
It's Wham.
Oh, it is Wham. That's
Yeah.
Brian.
No. Oh, yeah.
I think Brian Frober actually beat it with Wham. And Andy Baldwin got Careless Whisper.
Half point.
All right, half point for both. All right, here we go. Next one. This is interesting. We have to have like an all metal one again. Didn't we do that one time? Hair bands?
Nope. We've talked about it.
Oh, we got to do a hair bands one.
We've done a all sailor band. Wait, you know what I mean?
Rocket Fire Explosion?
Sailor band.
Last week was all Rocket Fire, or 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
No. Do you remember the?
That's from the guy. Album from the Sailor from the Village People.
Yeah, I can't think of the name. What's that genre?
Yacht rock.
Yacht rock. Yeah.
Chatters are having a hard time tonight.
Pretty classic song too.
It is a good song.
She's pretty cool.
Queensryche.
No.
Science.
No, Jed. No.
Sheena Easton.
There we go.
Mock.
Got it.
Mock.
All right.
I know this song. Yes, you
You're
do.
correct, Mock. It is Sheena Easton.
Judas Priest.
Man, you guys just pulling it out.
I just played the name of this song. It's one word. Okay, you all fail. It's strut. Okay, the next one.
Mock got it.
Mock just pulled it out.
All right, we'll give Mock one.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. This is the last one.
Brian says, "I would die for you."
The Little Purple.
Brian, you are correct. But
yes.
By whom?
That's it.
All
He
right.
said the little purple guy, which you know who that is.
By the little purple guy, Barney.
Full point.
Of course. Well, that concludes What's in the Juke. Andy Baldwin pulled it out in first place, 3.5 points. Brian Jones in second with 3 points. And Mock, RK Jason tied for third place. And then in the fourth place, Develop Jen, Brian Fober.
Nice.
That's one of the best performances by a guest we've had, isn't it?
I think so.
Yes, good
That's
job.
pretty
You almost
substantial.
won.
That's what she said.
He might not be loud
Would
enough,
you
but
look
he
at
gets
the
the answers
brain
right.
on Brian?
I'm impressed. You know your music.
I'm going to take Chris Brown's quote and I'm going to amplify it.
Man, it's a shame
Look at
about
the
that.
brain on Brian. That was awesome. All right, next one. Here we go. Well, wait a second. Are there any calls in the can? I don't know. I don't think there are.
There's never- Wow.
They're on the edge of their seats. They're ready to go.
They're waiting. What's happening? What's happening? Welcome, John. John Thun. Welcome, Brandon. Welcome, Chris. Welcome, Brian. And
Hello.
Who's in the background?
Oh, Marcy's in the background, but she's
Marcy.
got headphones on.
Oh, hi,
She doesn't like to listen to us.
That's that's okay.
Smart.
She doesn't even like to look at us.
We get that a lot here also. Yeah, so this is a part of the show where we interview our guests, and you guys are our guests. Thanks for coming on the show. It's you got a lot to talk about. So we're super excited, stoked to have you here. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's cool to be here.
All right, so Mark, why don't you kick us off with a question or two?
Free play. How did it start, and what's it doing, and where's it going?
Well, Bryan can talk loud enough. He's the best one to ask on the start thing.
Oh, here, let me ask him in his own voice. Free play, how did it start? What's it doing?
This is you hear. Free play, how did it start?
Where's it gone? do you like it? Or something?
There's not just being marked right now.
So
we actually started as a Southern Pinball Festival 8 years ago. And we were 50 pinball machines in a local civic center. And 3 years in, we decided it's time to expand our horizons a little bit. And we added video games and renamed it Free Play Florida.
It's an awesome name.
Later, we've kind of become we like to think that we've got a niche in the arcade show world because we try and have a lot of fun. We have really, really different things from any other show.
Right.
So it's fun stuff. We do everything from musicals to playing video games in tubs of ice water, you name it.
And part of the reason we can do stuff like that is because it's part of a non-profit. So all of us are just volunteers there just to have fun with our guests.
That's
wow, that's awesome.
And it's in Florida.
I know.
They are stretching for the next Florida man meme. Yeah, I mean every time.
And it's in Florida. Just in case you didn't catch the name.
That's Florida.
A lot of those Florida man memes actually come from our event, actually.
See, the time I was there, somebody was driving around with a Neo Geo on wheels.
I made that. Yeah, I built that because we would have Keith Apicary come in, and I was like, his video for his Neo Geo song is like they had like put like a Neo Geo cab on like a pallet and drove it around on forklift, so it looks like he's singing the song while it's moving around. It's like, cool. Well, why don't I just make one that you can drive? Yeah. So he showed up. He's like, oh, it's kind of beat. I'm like, yeah, but it drives. And he's like, oh, okay, here we go. So he just drives it around, and has fun with it.
Last year he rode on top of it.
Holy crap. I just for fun, I typed in May 30, 2019, Florida man. And first one is a Florida man has been sentenced to 40 years in prison for killing his wife, whose death was filmed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Florida, we're basically the Australia of the United States, right? Everything's trying to kill you.
Here's another one. Florida, still today, Florida man arrested after driving off from deputy calling 911 to rub it in.
Screw you, 911.
Hey, can you put me on with that guy behind me right now? Because I want to give him some shit.
You can't make this shit up. I mean, excuse me. This is good stuff.
We opened another rabbit hole for him. He's just going deeper into it now. It's just like I can see him like giggling as he's scrolling through the screen.
It's terrible. Yeah. Some of these I probably shouldn't read.
So where is Free Play going? So it started out as a pinball fest. You guys are doing something. Can you talk anything about what's planned for this year? What's the kind of off the wall stuff?
Oh gosh, so I get to do a lot of the stuff with the guests and kind of coordinating that stuff. And I don't know, there's a couple maybe we can say, but I'll go with the returns because we're going to see probably the return of looks like everything's squared for Nathan Barnett to come back and plays Keith Apicary.
Nice.
Looks like we have everything squared away for the Angry Video Game Nerd to come back. They're gung ho. And then we're talking to a few others. We got something special planned because in honor of the Munsters pinball machine that will be announced soon. And there's some wackadoo stuff coming up, and we'll start getting some of that stuff out in social media this summer so people can see what all is planned. But one of the, it's funny with the guest thing. One of the issues we always face at Free Play is people like our event so much that we're constantly getting contacted by past guests to see if they can come back. So it's not a hard job to have to reach out to people because so many of them just want to keep coming back. And of course, our job is to also pull some new people, new blood in, so people can encounter, some really interesting people at this event. And then obviously the guests are just one component of this. Bryan always has some crazy builds that he does. Our buddy Mark always has some crazy builds that he does. Chris and I jump in, and Marcy jumps in on some of those builds.
We do a lot of kind of like the fringe stuff that goes on at the show.
It's some goofy stuff, yeah.
Like like the Rampage, the musical.
Yep.
The chill screen that we had the past 2 years, that might get developed into something different this year. I'm kind of working out the particulars, but something equally as punishing to the players to do. Like the chill screen was basically sitting in like a horse water trough with ice water trying to play a game against somebody. And we had one of our local kind of radio personalities, Tom from the Tom and Dan show, came out and did it last time.
He loves to do stunts, you should say.
Yeah, so they're sitting in there like shaking, turning blue from the ice water, like trying to pick random game. I think we did Sonic last year. We've done like, what was it, Street Fighter?
Street Fighter years.
This year you're going to have waterboarding, I heard.
Waterboarding. And one of our biggest events, and we all work in is Space Ghost Live. We have an actual Space Ghost talk show that's gone on. And that really kickstarted, I think, in my opinion, some of the oddball stuff we do at the event. Because that was like something that was just brought up one time, like, hey, we know a guy who does like our buddy Thomas does an authentic Space Ghost outfit, if you know who Space Ghost is.
Yep.
You take Space Ghost from the cartoon and turn him into Batman from the Dark Knight.
Yeah, like Batman McGinn outfit, but like Space Ghost. So he does it every year. You can find the stuff up on YouTube. Really, really spectacular. And he just interviews some of our guests. So like last year he interviewed Cindy Morgan, Warren Davis, and James Rolfe, the Angry Video Game Nerd. So
and George Lowe, the Space
Ghost.
George
Lowe, the voice of Space Ghost, always comes back. He's kind of the Ed McMahon at this point.
Yeah.
But this is like not normal stuff. It just, it's what kind of sets our event apart, I think.
Yeah, and then we got like the after hours party stuff where we have like some people come in and play music. It's kind of like some extra hours from like 11 to 2 a.m. We drop all the lights real dark, let the glow of the games kind of set the tone for inside the main hall, and then have like some live music going on.
Yeah. Other than that, we're just very lucky because locally we have a great art community. They bring a lot of guys who do a lot of nerdy art that come out and bring stuff. We've got a great indie development community. We got lots of people who are developing games. They go to college here to learn how to make video games. So part of our nonprofit is we're able to give them a free space where they're able to show off their game to people that are in the convention to see some of this classic stuff, but they get to experience some new stuff that's being developed right now. And it's one of the wonderful things we're able to do because of the fact we're a nonprofit.
Cool.
I actually just picked up a couple pieces of art from a couple named DJ and Marianne this weekend at Combo Breaker, who we were chatting, and they're like, oh yeah, we sell our stuff at Free Play Florida. I mean, I'm at this fighting game event, and there's Space Invaders art on the wall, and I looked at it, I'm like, I gotta have that. I showed Susan, she said, well, if it's there at the end of the show. So I went back to them and said, so you understand if somebody asks, that's sold, and then at the end of the show, that will be accurate, right? And so at the end of the show, we bought it. But yeah, I mean, they were talking about free play and all the stuff they were bringing out there and how much fun they had. And they said, you don't know this guy named Bryan Jones, do you? I said, I won't admit to that.
Everybody knows Bryan.
But some of the art that you guys have had down there and the vendors that you have come in really do bring some neat stuff. We were there one year. I've only been there once. We've tried to make it back. And it really was a blast. It was a lot of fun. It was the year that Jonathan brought out a very special game from Tim Stryker.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that experience, Jonathan?
It's a 30-second.
Yeah. So, my entity here is called Vector Initiative, and I have vector.org as my website. Vector games, that's my thing, right? My first game was a Laserdisc game. It was a Mach 3, but most of the pain afterwards was vectors. And, so like Bryan knows that I've been collecting a lot of vectors and doing a lot of work in that. A lot of restoration work, a lot of preservation work. I've got crazy stuff. Like I've got all the source code to the Atari Vector games. I've got unreleased source code to Atari Vector games, just a bunch of stuff. So, yeah. So this very special video game moment brought to you by.
Just so people that are listening later know, the boys are unfolding a giant banner that says Aztrak on it, which is the game that Jonathan's about to regale us stories of here.
Yeah, so So I'm just sitting there one night on Facebook, and I think it was Bryan messaged me, and he was like, "Hey, you're gonna get a message from this guy Neil."
Was interaction with Neil?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And Neil will probably be here in like 10 minutes. So he's like, "You're gonna get
hate Neil, so you know."
People like to tease Neil.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good guy, but he's not really a technician. So, so I get this message from Brian's like, "Yeah, this like you're not gonna believe what they just found." So I get this message from Neil, and he found an Aztrac, but it turns out it was Tim Stryker who created Aztrac. It was his personal game. It had the original shipping, all the paperwork is inside the game. All the original shipping paperwork to ship it to his house and what he paid for the game, which is funny. Like he created a game and then they made him buy it. That's like,
yeah. Did Tony Temple do a blog story on this?
He did. He did a blog story on it.
Yeah, and we had him on the show, and I think we might have mentioned this story. So, that's a good abbreviation of what it is. So you go. So what was it like? You go to pick up the game.
Yeah, so what it was like going to the bank and getting a bunch of cash and getting a truck as fast as possible. I've been in this situation before. And, I didn't know Neil at the time. Like now I know Neil. Once we agreed on the phone, we were good. But I was like, no, we're getting the hell in a truck, getting a lot of cash and going south. Which is the same thing I do when we're on cocaine runs. So,
except you don't need the truck for the cocaine runs, right? They fit in the cars.
It's a small plane. It's a small plane.
Oh, the 80s.
Yeah, I drove down there, and there was beautiful home use only Aztrac owned by the developer of the game. And then when I got it back to the warehouse and started going through it, it was like weird stuff. Like the harness was put on upside down, but Aztrac happens to be a game where when you put the harness upside down, nothing goes wrong. And then like the CPU is missing from the board, and so it turns out the story was that the Stryker family, Tim Stryker, had sent it to somebody to repair it, and then I think somebody else had taken it after the original person to repair it.
An electrician friend or something.
Or an electrician friend, and then they wanted to buy it. So we think that they did like the equivalent of like going to the auction and pulling a fuse out of the game. You know, I think somebody like definitively like I think even the
CPUs don't just fall out.
Yeah, like it looked like somebody intentionally tried to make it look like this game was not working.
Interesting.
And it turned out the board did need repair. So I put it in a Pelican container and personally flew it out to Andy in Oakland. And Andy, like it's crazy. I go to Andy's house and he's like, "Oh yeah, put it on the pile of Aztrac boards over there."
Here you've flown out with a Pelican container. He's like, "Yeah, there's like 15 of them over there. Can you just drop it on the pile?"
Yeah, Andy's P-man on K-Log. And so Andy went to, like, Andy's crazy. Like, he has his workbench, and then behind him is this cabinet, like, just a wall of cabinetry, all these little parts drawers. And literally, it's like, he'll look at a chip, and he'll be like, okay, so that's like 74 S215. That looks like a 1978 Motorola vintage. And he goes over his drawer. He doesn't just get, like, the same part number. He'll get, like, the 1978 Motorola. You know, and be like, all right, that's going on the board right there. And you think I'm dramatizing. I am not dramatizing at all.
No, I like it.
It has parts by manufacturer and year.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
And replaces them with same manufacturer.
I am lucky if I get like the 100 UF capacitors in the same drawer. You know what I mean? It's like, okay.
Yeah, so he fixed the board, and Bill fixed the power supply, who goes by some name. Hamster. Yeah, of course, Hamster. And we didn't know what was going to be up with the monitor, so I bought like a full kit. I went through the entire 6400 schematic, and then actually took macro pictures of the board, and I bought replacement for every part that was on the 6400.
That's a Wells Gardner 6400?
Yeah.
So they're super rare.
Yes, exactly. But the monitor literally just powered right up. It just,
wow.
Well, other than the fact we forgot to pick up the ground. the first time. Yeah, I wasn't happy about that.
You didn't leave the magic smoke didn't escape though. Luckily.
No, thank God.
That's a fantastic story. I love that. So that debuted at Free Play.
Yeah, I don't like to get like super rare games and like lock them up in my secret lair, right? So
yeah.
And then Bryan at first thought I was a little bit crazy because you told me like you're not gonna put that on the show floor. I'm like, no, I'm gonna put it on the show floor.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So yeah, every crazy rare restore project game that I do, we roll it out on the floor at Free Play Florida and everybody can play it.
Wow.
So Astrak was out on the floor all weekend. So people can play
there was a guard too.
Well, yeah, there is Astrak with a deputy standing next to it on the floor at Free Play Florida.
That was funny. So the deputy shows up. He's like, all right, cool. Where do y'all want me? He thinks he's there just going to run like interference for the whole show. We're like, that game. No, that one game. You just stare at that one game the whole time. Make sure no one messes with it. Just that one. You got it.
So some of the listeners might be wondering what the hell Astrak is if you haven't Googled it already. But it's a really cool game. It's got almost like a portal that you look through. It's curved convex glass. But what's the gameplay like?
It's like one of those games that you get in the zone on, right?
Yeah.
Like you do, like to kick ass at Tempest, you have to get in the zone. Like you can't be thinking about at all.
Sure.
What you're doing. You just have to let the game run through you, and it's one of those games. The other thing too, most rare games are rare for a reason. The reason being they sucked.
Yeah.
This is one of the few rare games that is really fun to play.
Yeah, I had a blast.
It's really fun to play.
It's cool. I mean, because basically you get like a little, like your center home base kind of thing. You got these different ways of different invading like ships coming in from different directions. You got to run out and go like clear them up before they come and destroy your base. So you're kind of like running out, trying to track them out on like the radar and go clean them up before they take you out, to simplify the quickness of like the gameplay.
Yeah.
But it's awesome. It's like he's saying though, like you really get sucked into it. You're like, oh, how long have I been playing this game? Oh my god.
Well, and if physically it's so different than other, I mean, like, looking through that lens, it's got to be super fun. I mean,
it gives it a really cool fisheye effect.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
The vector work in that game is probably one of the best.
Yeah, it really is.
When you see that when the game titles are coming on, and there's even that little, it's somewhat of an Easter egg, where when the game titles are coming on, it actually Tim Stryker put his name in dim vectors. So you got to look for it, and you can see it.
Yeah, it's actually Scott Swayze, he's Scott. I think he's Scott 451 on K-Love, and he made the Vector FPGA board that I could play like Tempest and Omega Race and Quantum and a bunch of other games. So he did a preliminary version of Astrak for CAX last year, and what he found was literally the Astrak vector generation hardware was more advanced than any other vector game ever made, and so he couldn't emulate it with 100% accuracy, and so he literally, Scott's like so perfectionist, crazy. If Scott, if you're out there, love you, man. He designed a new version of the board that can do, I think it was because Astrak can do a full 16 bits of color intensity. So he designed a whole new generation of that PG board just so that when Astrak runs on it, it'll be emulated perfectly.
Oh, that's cool.
And just a quick little shout out for the people that are listening. So Scott did the FPGA board. I don't know that that's available yet, but Arcade Jason did the lens. And then there was another piece that Jason had done, and I can't remember what it was right now off the top of my head.
Well, I think this is a good lead into another plug for Vector Initiative, because obviously that's passion. But tell us about the upcoming event.
Yeah, so I decided to throw this little auction, like we were saying at the top of the show, and it just went nuts. 270-something people coming now. I rented a 40 by 40 tent to put outside because there's no way everyone's going to fit in here.
Right. Well, luckily the weather looks like it's going to behave.
It looks like it's going to behave. We've got, I think, 8 tables committed in the swap meet right now.
Nice.
Lots of stuff.
Trade your stuff. Bring your stuff to trade, man.
Absolutely. And and about 120 games in the auction. Straight auction, no BS, no ghost bidding, no shill bidding, no crazy ass reserve prices. We're here to sell games and have fun. That's it.
So you're
And
gonna
hopefully
start everything
it'll-
off at $100, or how's it gonna work?
I mean, if that, so like, there's a couple things. Like, there's a reactor over here, which is like crazy. It's really, really nice shape. And we're expecting, like I was saying before, like at least one fist fight over that reactor.
Yeah.
So some of those, like, they'll probably be reserve on. They probably won't even be needed. I mean, there's people flying in from Arizona and stuff to come to the auction at this point.
Yeah.
But no, like $100, if that. I mean, some stuff will be less than $100. So just no like games, no shenanigans. Just let's have fun. Let's sell some games.
And there's a full list of the games online. Is that right?
Yeah, on the so I emailed the full list to everybody who has a ticket earlier today, and I updated the post on KLOV, and I updated the post on a couple other places. I haven't updated it on the Facebook event yet, but I'm going to do that tonight.
Okay, cool.
Hey, I'm looking at the event here, and it says that as for suggested friends, I could invite Brian Jones to this event because he's not going yet.
All right.
So I just invited you, Brian. So you've got an announcement there.
Brian.
Some arcade thing on
It's
Sunday.
arcade.
There's some people doing some stuff.
Yeah,
164.
It's all 60 and ones, Brian. Don't worry about it.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's gonna be a cool event. You have to take some video. So can you give us a preview of, say, give us 10 or 12 names of games?
Well, just sitting right in front of me, there's Power Drive, Popeye, Miss Pac-Man, Galaga, Class 81, Qbert, Reactor, Major Havoc. What is that, an indie down there? Indiana Jones, Three Stooges.
Cyberball.
Cyberball, Upright, Lunar Lander. Something like 17 Solar Quest.
The Cyberball is a 2-player game, right?
Yeah, there's a 2-player for sale and a 4-player.
Wow. I like that game for some reason. I just like it.
I like it too. I'm not even a football guy. But I like the game.
Well, the sounds are so cool. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's fun to play with 2 or 3 other people.
Yeah, I love it. The 4-player, you have a passer and a receiver for your team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Cool. Well, that's man. I want to go to Florida.
I seriously tried to get out a call this weekend. I mean, I sat there and nobody would take my Sunday call.
Because they're all coming to the auction.
I got Marriott points. And I have a free stay going. Right, I could probably get down there. Just be like last minute standby.
Yeah, and Neil was just sleeping in the reactor. He didn't even need a place to stay.
And now up for auction, a brand new reactor. This thing weighs a shit ton. Why is it so heavy?
You got a dead body in it, is what it is.
Did y'all hear that banging in the back of the truck?
That's
you hear that guy going, "Get me out of here!"
So Neil is the one that found Astrak.
Hey, Neil, we got a cameo.
I know, right?
Welcome to the show.
I've never done a podcast. I'm usually on Twitch.
All right, that's enough, Neil. So
Whoa.
start talking.
I've never done it. No one will let me talk.
I gotta do this. I gotta do this to get in the camera.
Oh no. There's a. I don't even.
Oh shit, that's funny.
He won't stop. It's not gonna stop. He talked so much that Jen's ear literally started bleeding yesterday.
Just blood.
Like her ear literally started bleeding yesterday.
Oh. So that's funny.
No, Neil's great. Neil's great. Neil and Jen have been here busting ass, moving games, getting games fixed, diagnosing games are not working. So everything's clear. If it's not working, it's clearly labeled. It says what's wrong with it. So huge thanks to Neil and Jen for all the help over the last week.
I got a funny, real quick Neil story. I think the first time I met Neil was at one of the Florida arcade auctions. And this joker bought a reunion cocktail top, and he's got like, what was it, an Accord?
A Civic.
And he's sitting like pulling the monitor out, some of the stuff, and then putting the cabinet on top of the Civic and driving back down to Miami. It's like, this guy gets it. He gets it. He knows
to get home, but I got home, damn it.
Nice work.
Dedication. Hashtag Florida man.
Yeah.
All right, so let's give.
Have you ever called the cops as they're following you?
Bryan told his cop spy hunter story on the show once. That was good.
Yeah.
So let's ask a question for each of you to answer so that we can. Jonathan is like, obviously the focus of this with all these games, and this is your old place, and you're going to a hangar.
Yeah, I know that sounds very first world.
It's just not big enough. I need a hangar.
Yeah.
Do you have a plane?
Yeah, I've been in the warehouse here for I think 4 years, and I bought a motor glider a couple months ago.
Nice.
It's been my dream for 20 years to buy a STEMI S10 and now S12G motor glider, and so I was like, hey, I should get a hangar to put that in. And then I was like, hey, I could put all the arcade games in the hangar. And this is the point normally where I go to my wife with this idea, and she looks at me like I'm the dumbest person that has ever existed in the universe. But I said, hey, honey, I think we should buy a hangar. And she's like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea, actually. I'm like, what the heck just happened? So we got this hangar, and we're moving everything. We're consolidating like all the hobby stuff that we do all into one place. And finally, all the games will be playable. They won't be all like jammed up and no room between them. So I'm like totally psyched. I'm really looking forward to it.
Cool.
And the auction is all the games which I have like 2 or 3 or like Space Duel 6 of. Yeah. Well, the only reason I have 6 Space Duels is like I just call them Wells Gardner 6100 shipping containers. It's the least expensive way to ship a 6100 safely.
That's probably true.
Actually, I love Space Duel, but it's like the bottom of the Atari Color Vector food chain, right? So like if a Star Wars dies, then like a monitor gets pulled from a Gravatar, and then that monitor to fix that gets pulled from a Space Duel. Like Space Duels always suffer anytime another Atari Vector game goes out.
All right, so
anyway. So we're moving everything into a hangar. We're gonna have our little private arcade for friends and family in there, and just make it make it fun. And yeah, friends, family, and Bryan.
Nah.
Yeah, no. Neil, once he fixes a couple games, Neil's not coming back.
All right, so I have a question for you guys, all to answer, not at the same time. We usually ask this question, especially of the collectors and the restorers, because something when we were kids made us want to get into this hobby later on in life. So the question is basically, what's your arcade origin story, or as Mark likes to put it, as a youth, what were the circumstances when you first became hooked on arcade games?
Nice. Casey voice.
Why don't you do, Chris Brown? Why don't you give us your first
So I mean, I basically kind of grew up in arcades and stuff like that, and I opened up a arcade bar down here called Bart. Neil's actually got one of my shirts on.
Nice.
Yeah. There you go. Logo time.
But I did that a little over 6 years ago, and it gave me a good excuse to start buying the arcade games that I loved, and give a place for people to go and play them. I always had them on free play over there.
Sure.
And and so that's kind of where I started. And then originally, like, I didn't have the game, so I hooked up with a local collector that had a bunch of stuff and was willing to basically lease them out to me.
Oh, cool.
And then as the years went on, the affliction started. And then you just need to go find a place for all your games and toys.
That's cool. So what do you remember, like, when you were a kid, what drew you to the arcade? What was the games?
I mean, I always had, like, I grew up with like games of some sort, around.
Sure.
And we had like the mecca place as a kid that we could ride our bike to. At a movie theater, a comic book shop, an arcade, a pizza joint, and like just pretty much everything a kid would need is all right there.
Sure.
So, we'd go there, and it's just, I mean, you bounce from one thing to the other, and, we spent so much time in the arcades. I mean, just the different games, that, and always like trying to get that high score or beat your buddy at whatever, game title. But it's just a lot of the competition of it, the fun. Ooh, what's the new shiny new toy at the arcade? Just pretty much the standard thing. I think it really kind of is. Just that glow of all the games being on, and just the sheer massive noise,
Yeah. And So, Bryan, why don't you go next, Mr. Jones?
I guess I qualify as that very, very early computer kid. So like the mid 70s, I started out with computers, and then of course I was hooked on games, and then the arcade went nuts, and I happened to live less than a mile away from one. And I remember the mall. I remember I can go point at the door where the arcade used to be. And I spent pretty much at least 3 years of my life riding my bike up to that mall, watching the new games. I'd get there before it opened. And one of the most vivid memories is, of all things, watching them open the Centipede and put it on the floor.
Oh, cool.
But they were closed, so I had to walk. I was little. I was looking through the grate of the door, getting all excited about Centipede because I'd never seen it before. But that's probably it.
What was the name of the arcade?
It was the Gold Mine. I think it was a Nickels and Dimes brand at the time.
Very cool.
I've been looking for pictures of that arcade for 10 years and I've not found one.
Isn't it amazing? I like the modern age. We just expect that those photos will be out there. I have a Aladdin's Castle Arcades group on Facebook, and it is impossible to find pictures of Aladdin's Castle Arcades. You see the same picture of the same Aladdin's from the same mall because it's still there, but that's the only one in the whole world. But if you want pictures of kids playing in arcades, anything like that, they're stupid rare. Even Chuck E. Cheese, Showbiz, it's super hard to find photos. So it's pretty
so
cool.
Many regrets, and it just didn't seem like the place to take a photo at the time.
Right? No, I know.
Well, we didn't have cell phone cameras back there, and where you could take pictures of everything.
There is a group that I created recently with a guy named Gaines McDonald. I think his last name's McDonald. Anyway, he and I have like this cache of arcade photos. It's a Classic Arcade Preservation Society on Facebook. If you check that out, there's tons and tons of photos in there that we posted, and some of them we don't know where they came from or what, but it's a good place to go find archival photos that we've collected over the last decade or so. So, Brandon, what's your story?
Pokemon?
No. Well, like growing up, I wasn't allowed in arcades because that's where drug deals are made. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
So I mean, I had gone to the ones we could go to were like Showbiz Pizza.
Yep.
And that became the Major Magics. And
Okay.
the Major Magics became Chuck E. Cheese. So I was allowed to go to those. So I played the games there. But really, it wasn't until I moved down here a couple of years ago. Chris invited me out to the bar, and that's when I became all part of this really like the hardcore arcade culture and stuff.
We
like
corrupted
that.
him. This what
They
it meant.
definitely corrupted me.
What was your first buy? What was your first buy?
Playing Simpsons and Ninja Turtles at Major Magics back in the day.
Okay.
So,
What was your first buy?
my first buy, I don't have any machines. I don't know. But now I guess I'm going to the auction, so who knows?
You're gonna have your first buy this weekend.
Friend prices, maybe.
Friend price.
I do have a very good Virtual Boy collection. That is true.
Oh, that's cool. Are you a console guy? You got a lot of consoles?
Yes, that was saved from my parents' way of keeping us out of the arcade was they're like,
Sure.
"Oh, we bought you the system." So
There's less drug deals with
Less
Atari
drug-
2600.
yes.
I have a ton of Atari 2600 and 7800 stuff I need to unload, and lots in boxes. Okay, Neil, you're on the hook. What's up, dude?
So I went to a arcade in Miami by the name of Fun-O-Rama, and it was right next to a movie theater, and Fun-O-Rama was the spot, and that was in the 90s, obviously. Years later, I started working for the cruise line industry, and I started fixing slot machines, and I found out the slot machines actually had very similar parts to an arcade, and I said, man, I bet you $5 I could fix one of these suckers, and sure enough, I did. And then next thing you know, I found through an email of an auction, and then I go to the auction, and then hence that's where I meet Chris, and then they saw how stupid and crazy I was to put a reunion cocktail on top of my Civic, and that's how I started this whole mess. And then it just got worse and worse and worse.
Nice.
And then I get beat up by these guys every day. I always get a one-liner, but it's all love, so it's good.
That's
Yeah,
good.
you
That's good.
welcome them kindly.
Jonathan, what was your first memory that sparked your interest in arcades that ended up fueling this passion you have for collecting?
For me,
Mm-hmm.
let's see. The first game I played I remember right, it was no, that wasn't the first game I played. That's the best game I played. So we used to go on vacations at Disney World, and if I'm remembering this right, there was like a tiny arcade at the Contemporary Hotel, like on the way out to the pool. Not the big one, not the kick-ass one.
Okay.
And there was this was like 1977, 78, and there was a Space Invaders and one or two other games in there. And I saw that Space Invaders, like, are you, what in the heck is going on here?
Yeah.
And played that. Later, the Contemporary Hotel had one of the most badass arcades ever. Amazing arcade.
I can't believe what they did recently.
That bar that you're recalling going out to the pool bar is called Terragoa Terrace. And there is half of it that looks identical today. It's been closed.
Really?
For like 25 years. And it's still the orange carpet and everything.
Wow.
It's like a time capsule.
Are you allowed to talk about this stuff?
Well, I mean, anybody.
Yeah, and then the first game I ever bought, well, we would go to arcades all the time. There were 2 arcades within like a 5-minute bike ride of our house, and our parents didn't care about drugs, so we went whenever we wanted. And then there was D'Alessandro's Pizza, and there was Aladdin's Castle and Time Machine, but the first game I ever bought, I was looking at the newspaper, I was looking at the classified ads in 1990, and there was a Mach 3 listed, which I'd love to play Mach 3. It was in the 7-Eleven by our house. And like it had never occurred to me before, like, wait a minute, I can own these?
Yeah. That's that great epiphany that we all have. Wait,
right, yeah.
Yes.
Hold
It's like,
on,
I could
what?
actually put one of these in my house.
Yeah, it was $325 for that Mach 3 in 1990. And I drove over there and bought that thing and played it. Unfortunately, that got me into buying Laserdisc games, which ended tragically.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because I think as when I was a kid, we'd go over to one of my dad's friends' houses, and he had a Coke machine and a pinball machine. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Like, you can have a pinball machine in your house? That is so cool. So, I think that just, bought my first house, and I'm thinking, what can I put in here to entertain people? I'm like, I could put an arcade game in here. And then I started thinking about which games I wanted. And I started with Tron because I wanted something that had multiple games in it. It's the first game I remember that had like 4 different modes. So that's kind of where I got it too. I don't know about you guys, Brian, Mark. I don't know if you've ever told those stories before.
My story was that I had a hole in the wall that needed arcade games. So, what about you guys?
I actually bought my first arcade game for Susan. I bought what they labeled on Craigslist as a dedicated Galaga. I showed up, bought it, I got it home. I'm like, why does the screen say Galag? And why does this art not look like Galaga? And it ended up like that, like any good scientist or engineer, I started researching the whole thing. And by the time I was done, I figured out I had a Galag board and a Stratovox cabinet. So then I had to get a Stratovox to get that back. And so then I ended up with a second one and a third one and a fourth. It just, I blame Susan.
All right.
That's good. I wonder if she knows.
Oh, she's fully aware, but denies any further responsibility after that point.
Did any of you have a period? Was there ever a period in your lives where you didn't play games?
I had collected I had 30 some odd games. I was living in California, and I would take a bunch of them to early California Extreme every year. And one year I rented a 26-foot truck. I loaded 25 games in there, loaded them all myself, unloaded them all myself, put them on the show floor, and I was like, screw this, I am done.
Yeah.
And I put for sale stickers on every single game I had at California Extreme. And so after that, I was out of collecting for over 10 years, 11 or 12 years. I kept a Star Wars and an iRobot and a Major Havoc. That was it. Cool. And I didn't want to hear about any new games because I just had the PTSD of moving 26 games by myself. There was a good 12 years. I really didn't play anything. I didn't buy anything new. I didn't collect anything. And I really didn't even turn on the 3 games I kept in those 12 years.
Wow. And you guys have all played games or collected the whole time, or did you have a?
I've always been playing games of some sort. You know, I mean, like I'm born. I think I'm a little bit younger. I was born in '80, and then we always had like some sort of console. Like we had 2600 and like VIC 20, and we always had some sort of game or something around. So I've always kind of done games. The frequency of how much I play has changed throughout the years. But I mean, at some point in time, you're always picking up something, playing whatever. Sure. I'm like, oh, I haven't played that in a while. Kick it on, play a few games or whatever. So I don't think I've really kind of stopped. I've slowed down on buying things.
I find myself playing a lot of modern games.
I'm purchasing stuff, and then I heard about a cool like auction or something.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll be adding more.
Yeah. Brian, Brian Jones, do you still play computer games?
Of course.
And did you start with a Commodore 6? Do you have a Commie 64 and an Apple II? What'd you have?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I had Apple II, Apple IIe, Apple IIc, Apple II GS, Mac.
Got all of them.
Yeah.
You got your own little computer museum. So, have you ever stopped playing games?
From about 84 to 90. I don't even think I looked at one.
Wow.
To be honest.
And how big? Do you have a large collection of arcade games as well?
I think I got my first arcade game in 92.
Which one was that?
It was a Blasteroids.
Oh, awesome! How many games was it? Was that in a Dura mold?
No, it's a regular old Atari. It's like the third Asteroids game.
Oh yeah, that's a Atari, not William. Okay, so how many games do you have in your collection?
I don't even know, really. I've loaned out a lot of them. So I would say all told, probably 70.
That's pretty good.
I think
a lot of them are in, I've an Atari Hercules pinball.
Awesome.
That permanently lives in the Replay Museum over in Tampa. And a lot of my games are kind of spread out that way.
There's a Hercules at Blainebrook Bowl in Blaine, Minnesota. Blaine.
So the thing with Brian is, what's the oddest game you have? Because you have a knack for finding these kind of oddball, off-the-wall games.
That is kind of my specialty. Gosh. Probably one of the weirdest ones is I've got an Atari Pool Shark.
Okay.
The Atari...
a Tekken Guzzler, which is kind of like a Pac-Man hack kind of thing. Recently, Jonathan helped me get a SNK Lasso. Exterminator, that's a great one. Love that machine.
That thing's cool.
I know a guy that got an Exterminator.
Memories. I vividly remember that game coming into Tilt in the Lake Square Mall. And it's just, I remember that one, I remember Warrior, and I remember Chiller, all from that arcade.
Chiller.
Yep.
Well, I didn't hear the name of the first Atari one you said. What was it?
It's Pool Shark.
Pool Shark.
That's pretty cool.
Cool.
What game? So we asked this question later on, and I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead, guys, but since we're on Brian and we got him talking,
loud enough.
What game are you looking for? Like, what's the game that's out there that you're thinking like, gosh, if I could only find that game, this is the one that would kind of be the one I'm looking for.
Jesus.
Looking for Jesus.
I've not seen that one. Was that a Williams or was that a?
That was one of those small short games. You remember the? Oh wait, you know what I'm talking about, all right?
That was an Atari Dura mold.
No.
I think the things I'm really looking for now are I'm on the historical side of games, so that's what I'm really into is the history side. So I'm always looking for Gottlieb prototypes specifically, just anything of that nature and oddball stuff. For whatever reason, I want to find a Pinocchio or a Doradon, just really just bizarre stuff.
Well, it's interesting to pull that stuff apart too, because often if it's a super rare, weird game by a one-off company or by a company that had trouble bringing games to market, the hardware inside is just foreign. It doesn't match anything else. So And then sometimes it does. So I imagine that's fun. And then you can find bags of cocaine in some of them, apparently.
What?
Those are definitely from down south.
Like Screw Loose, I guess, from your earlier question about ones that you built from nothing. That was a game I literally did build from nothing. We found parts and information and pinouts and made probably the very first harness anybody's ever seen to build that Tim Skelly game up from literally nothing.
That's cool.
Very
What's the weirdest thing you guys have found inside an arcade game?
Well, mine has to be the Astro.
You found an ass track inside an ass track?
Inside the thing was the paperwork.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I found an Aztrack inside an Aztrack. Wait, Mark, didn't you find a game inside a game?
No. So when the whole thing with the Astrak, when beforehand the guy tells me there is no key to the game, and I'm sorry, fine, but it just so happens like a couple months prior, I ended up buying out a lot in West Palm Beach. They gave me a box of keys, and I gave the task to a friend of mine to start opening, just see if you could fake the lockout, see what's inside the coin bucket. And eventually he got a key that literally went in, turned all the way. It was a key, like a standard key from the factory, and he turned it, opened it, and sure enough, the coin meter read 00001. And the damn quarter was still inside the coin bucket.
Oh my God.
And then to top it off, the paperwork is inside, and when you opened it up, it actually said Tim Stryker, which is the same guy that created the damn game.
Right.
And that's where we were just with our mouths open. And I think that, everyone's going to have one of those wow moments, but that one was mine.
So what year was on the quarter?
It was 83, I think it was.
Yeah.
83.
It was 83.
Yeah.
So
it means the Chuck Keys.
Where did I put all the Chuck Keys?
It's sorry, auction logistics happening in real time.
Well, we only have about 10 minutes left, so let's, Mark, you want to fire off one of these other ones here?
I do, as I pull up the page, trying to figure out what I'm asking.
Put your name next to a couple.
Wait, how about this? I don't think we've got it. Do any of you have any? Do you have any stories about the one that got away?
I'll let you know after the auction.
Damn it! Now that's gonna be like everybody else's sad story, but
Is that an arcade machine question, or is that?
yes. I mean, it could be a girl. I mean, if it's a good story.
I kind of got one. I mean, it was a dedicated Blades of Steel cab, but it was just like a shell, right? It was beat up. Like I loved playing Blades of Steel. I was like, I'm sure I can find the stuff, put it together, and bring it back. And then I was like, and it went for like nothing, like maybe $10 or something at one of these auctions, because again, it really didn't have anything in it. And then I always look back, I'm like, for $20 or whatever, I should have just bought the stupid thing. And then if I got to it, then I'd get to it.
Yes.
And I'm like, man, $20.
my what I'm looking for and got away is actually the same thing. So I love the Atari big marquee games like Escape from the Planet of the Robot Monsters, Skull and Crossbones, Cyberball. I just think they're some of the coolest looking cabinets made. That big marquee that's on it and all the art that you see from the front of it. And there's one other dedicated big marquee Atari game, Atari Badlands, which supposedly they made 50 dedicated and 10 with the big marquee. And I started looking for one, and when I started looking for one, about 6 months before I started looking, there was a dedicated Atari Badlands big marquee on eBay that nobody bid on.
Oh, jeez.
Nobody bid on it. And I've tried to contact the guy behind that account for like 4 years now. I never get an answer.
There's restraining orders issued.
Bryan has done some sleuthing, and he thinks he works for a pinball company, but we haven't fully stalked the guy yet.
That's hilarious. What about Bryan? Do you have one that got away?
Too many. Too many years. For me, most of the stories about the ones that got away are the ones that I found and then sold, and I'll never get back again. I'll never get a Quantum again for the price that I paid for the first one I got. The stuff like that.
What was the price on the first one?
$600, I think.
Oh.
For Quantum, and then I had a Warrior. I'll never have a Warrior back again for what I paid. So a lot of them are like that. And then there's some goofy ones that I've had over the years that I really like, but in Florida we don't have basements, so typically a typical Florida big arcade is like 10 machines, because that's what you can stuff in a room, and you got to let something go to let something new come in. So there's a lot of fish that got away.
Unless you buy a hanger.
Unless you have a friend with a hanger.
There you go.
You said family and friends, man. What? I thought we were closer.
Well, and actually, when we were going through the warehouse and all these games in here, I was running. There's like 5 games that were like friends games that were stored in here, and then I got when I started getting to like, oh, that's your friend's game. I was like, oh, come on, man, seriously. My friend's game is being stored here. It turns out it was actually Direct Friend, but that's how I heard it.
And then there's always the perpetual project that you picked up a decade ago. You're still going to finish it, right?
Yeah,
so,
I'm going to finish it.
So do any of you have any arcade legends or engineers or high score people that you look up to? Anyone in the industry that you're like, yeah, I mean, like, I really like Eugene Jarvis, or I like, somebody like that. Is there anybody that stands out?
For me, that's an easy one. Really.
Yeah.
Tim Skelly is easily probably one of the so-called legends that was easily the kindest, most open, most giving people that I've ever interacted with in gaming.
Yeah.
He actually donated me his development station he used at Millstar Gotham.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, so Tim Skelly and Eugene Jarvis and a bunch of other guys were featured recently at the Science Museum in Minnesota. They have a traveling exhibit that's going on right now. And it's called Game Changers. And it walks you through the golden age of arcades. And then it takes you through modern gaming and indie gaming and all that sort of thing. It's pretty cool. So they have a good sampling of Golden Age, and Tim Skelly's featured. So, anybody else?
I like I met when I first met Warren Davis, I thought he's just a super fun guy to kind of hang out and chat with and stuff. And when we had him at the show last year, I thought it was a trip. He's got some fun stories. I mean, he's just really good at kind of like working around and stuff like that. He does, he'll do like magic tricks or whatever. Like I was running around the corner doing something, I look over and he's like sitting there doing like card tricks with my daughter at the show. I'm like, that's freaking awesome. But yeah, I like meeting him and hanging out with him. I thought he was a lot of fun.
I 100% agree with Chris, and then also Bryan Colin, who's a good friend of ours
great.
now.
Yeah.
I think that's been one of the cool things about free play is that we have these people who are just really great human beings that just become part of the event.
Yeah.
They're not, there's no ego. They're just good human beings that just, if I ask them, hey, can you help me out with entertaining this group of people here? They want to know about what you did, blah, blah, and they'll just talk to people and, so yeah, I would agree with Chris 100%. Warren Davis and then also Bryan Colin, who's a big part of our event at this point.
Yeah, that's really cool.
People have a legendary status that will actually get a 90 and perform in a musical.
Yeah, so that Rampage musical, we had Bryan Colin, the creator, obviously, of Rampage. He played himself in a dream sequence, and he came out in a, I don't want to say 90. What's it?
It's like an Ebenezer Scrooge type, like.
He came out in a dream sequence in his sleeping garment pajama thing as himself. And spoke to Ralph the Wolf and told him how to get with Lizzie, the giant lizard lady.
Yeah, Bryan Cullen is a hoot. He actually was a guest on the show a couple episodes ago, and he
great guy.
He fell asleep and
really?
And missed the opening of the show. He called me midway. He's like, "I'm really sorry. I totally forgot."
we had an awesome moment last year because one of the things we did last year was we made these giant, for all our guests, we made these giant posters with their faces on it. And he was the only one who's like, because he drives down over here, and he's like, well, I'm taking this home. So he had to drive in his pickup truck with
It's an
8-foot picture of
8x4 sheet of foam core.
And it's a pickup truck. It's not like he pushed it in the back of a van or anything like that. It's just sitting on the top of the truck.
So, actually, we had Warren Davis. We shipped his to him.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, but there again, those two guys are
For listeners that don't know, Warren Davis is, well, he was inducted into the International Hall of Fame, but he was Video Game Hall of Fame in Ottumwa, right? But he was a prominent figure at Gottlieb, right?
Yeah.
Developer.
Hubert's is one of the big claims to fame.
So, what were some of his games for the listeners?
Terminator is probably the other big one he's known for, but Hubert's the main one.
Yeah, this Kubert one's good. But then he also didn't he do the image capturing for like Mortal Kombat and stuff?
He's not really directly credited for Mortal Kombat, I think, but that whole image capture process.
Yeah.
It was I think it started with Exterminator. And then ultimately, all that capture used in those like NBA Jam and all that.
Cool.
That was a neat conversation we had a few episodes back about where all the pictures came from in Exterminator and their actual rooms and houses and the hands and all that. I mean, that was a really neat story. I just picked one of those up, had it for about 3 days working with no sound. We tried to fix the sound and managed to blow all the boards. So,
oh no.
One small step forward and about 18 steps back.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
I know.
All right, guys. Well, do you have any parting thoughts and or plugs for various events besides what's going on this weekend?
We do have one last question.
We do?
We do.
We have a chat question for Jonathan.
Is it RUMRF?
What do you tell a woman with a black eye, Jonathan?
Oh no.
Oh.
This is not good.
This is dangerous. This is dangerous.
This is not going to end well.
You already told her what she needs to know. You don't need to say anything else.
I have to say, I have at least 5 or 6 messages here saying, "Do not forget to ask Jonathan what to tell the woman with the black eye."
That is an inside joke, not my general opinion or my lifestyle.
We'll reserve that for the grinder.
Jen got a black eye when she was moving one of the games. It was Popeye, which is kind of funny. Although I said it'd be more appropriate if it was Punch Out that fell on her.
Oh yeah.
And we were at a Japanese steakhouse, and the chef looked at her. Neil was sitting next to Jen. So, Neil is like 3 feet tall, and Jen is like 7 feet tall. And they're sitting next to each other, and the chef looks at him assumes they're a couple, and he turns to Neil and he says, "Did you give her that black eye?" And Jen, without missing a beat, says, "If he did it, he'd have 2 of them right now."
Nice. She beat Neil to the punch.
You remember playing Mike Tyson Punch Out? And then the little Mac has to go and jump up.
Nice.
Oh, that's awful.
Yes, that's a Jen May joke, that's an inside joke with Jen, not a.
Of course.
And so much.
We will honor that. Yes.
Well, in case you don't remember, everybody, this weekend, Vector Initiative and barbecue, free barbecue.
Free.
Right.
Well, for $5.
That's why I'm going.
Yeah. Maitland, Florida. Don't miss it. The game list is off the hook, guys. I mean, it really is an amazing auction. And thank you to Jonathan for putting it together, because you don't see auctions like this very often with games that actually, everything's like 60-1 and like crap cabinets now. You might have 1 or 2 good ones. You have like 1 or 2 cabinets that I'm looking at going, maybe I don't want that cabinet. And the rest of it's really some amazing stuff. So thank you for sharing those with everybody and being willing to actually put them up for sale.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
Yes. And then also, a lot of, because he said some of these are like duplicates. He does bring a bunch of them out to the show at Free Play Florida, so you can actually go out there and play some of them when you're unable to. to make the auction and still want to get some time on some of these games, you can look at us at freeplayflorida.com.
November 22nd, 23rd, and 24th.
And yeah, and we'll have another extremely rare game at Free Play Florida, one of 3 in the world this year.
Nice. Brian Jones, you want to plug your art site? I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, I'll be plugging this whole game now because I kind of retired from doing game stencils. So if you need my old stencils, you can get them at this whole game.
Sweet.
And,
nice.
So yeah, that's a different venture for me.
Well,
So
you guys are
now
a great
I'm gonna
bunch of
restore
guys. You clearly don't get along at all, so that sucks.
Oh, yes. It's just such a...
It's got to be fun to have this. You know, we don't have get-togethers as much as we should. Brian had to arrange a swap meet for just a small group of Minnesota guys. But I love the fact you guys are doing this. Tell us how it turns out, and we're really happy that you're doing it. I think it's, and I want to see pictures of the hangar with the glider.
I was looking up the glider the other day. I mean, that thing is sweet.
Yeah, it's cool. So stick around after the outro, and we'll sign off officially with you guys. But thanks again for being on the show. As always, everybody, thanks for tuning in. You know, we love doing this show every week, and it's good that you guys are all here. Thanks for tuning in. Tune again next week. This has been the Double R's. That's the Arcade Radio.
Like us at facebook.com, Arcade Radio, or check us out in the semi-regularly updated blog at arcaderadio.com. That's RCADERADIO.com.
All right. Call and leave comments and questions on the game line like nobody does. 612-548-GAME. That's 4263 for all of you Luddites.
And you can text, too, if you like. So follow us on Twitter for updates on our latest shenanigans.
Don't text.
Subscribe on our YouTube channel and click the notification bell so you know when we're streaming live.
You can also subscribe to our podcast on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play Music, etc. Blah, blah, blah.
That's going to be it for this show from Arcade Radio Team. We hope you had a great time, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah! This is the part where we dance and take our pants off.
All right.
But not me, because of my back. And I mean the one in the mailbox. Trying to get the star view.
Wait. This is the part where the 70s came in.
Now I got my Plex out. I got nothing. Hello?